Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Live here, and yes, the title is not even a lie. I've actually played Indiana Jones and the Great Circle on the Switch 2. It's not even out. We were very kindly sent an early code, and I get to talk to you about my experience playing up to a certain point. Basically, the end of the Vatican. It's an old-fashioned Alex preview video. By gar, it's been a while. Naturally, we're going to be talking a fair bit about performance, because obviously, Switch 2, everyone's wondering, how's it going to run? Couldn't really do a preview without talking about it. But playing the game again did spark a few lovely notions, just maybe reminded me why I enjoy the game so much. So I'm going to be talking about that as well. Bonus, it pads the runtime. But anyway, that's more than enough waffling. Let's dive right into things. So, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. If you're familiar with the game, you'll know that it's a game all about playing as Indiana Jones. You go around with a whip, and there's mysteries and archaeology, and honestly, it's a bloody good time. I originally played it on the Xbox Series X, and I really enjoyed my time with it. I really did. I didn't complete it because Game Pass ran out, and I did not want to pay for another month. So seeing it come to Switch 2 is a dream come true, because I get those codes for free. But okay, Switch 2 version. The game runs at 30 frames a second, as you probably would have expected, frankly, and all things considered, it actually looks bloody good. Now, of course, you're not going to get the same fidelity as something like Xbox Series X, PS5, or anything like that. It is obviously going to be stripped back because you are playing on a console the size of a peanut. And it's not perfect. It's really not. I think, and I really want to emphasize this, really stress it, I think there is some ray tracing going on. It is very low fidelity, very low resolution ray tracing, but the Switch 2 is capable of it. We've seen it in some previous games, and it's mainly in the opening section with the museum, where you see the light pouring in, and this is famously a game that actually demands ray tracing, I believe, certainly on PC at the very least. And so, as a result, that's kind of been a barrier to entry for a lot of things. So the fact that it's coming to Switch 2 at all is a bit of a blinking miracle. But as I was sort of looking around and you got the directional lighting and things like that, there was a part of me, I don't know. I am not super familiar with ray tracing, so I can't say with any certainty. But if you're looking at this footage and you can sort of go, hey, yeah, that looks like ray tracing, do let me know in the comments. But suffice it to say, there is definitely some really quite impressive lighting going on. There are, some drawbacks with things like the shadows and stuff like that are quite soft, all things considered, and certainly when you're quite a distance away, they get softer still. But to be honest, I don't think it's a big deal. I really don't, because as I say, this is running on a Switch 2, a console the size of a chia seed. And when I got to the Vatican and I got to that great big open courtyard area, yeah, it drops frames here and there a little bit. It's not super solid 30 in most instances, but it's not the sort of game that really demands that. Yes, there are action sequences, there absolutely are, and, maybe, sort of reaction times are important, but at the end of the day, sort of all your movements are a little bit sort of more realistic, a little bit more sluggish, as it was. Sluggish? They're a little bit more sluggish overall, so it doesn't really feel like it impedes the experience. And although I am sensitive to frame rates, I stopped caring pretty damn quickly. And I am sensitive, I'm not a huge snob, but I do think that is a flipping good sign. I think the motion blur is doing a fair bit of heavy lifting there, sort of, slightly hiding the dropped frames here and there, but I'll be brutally honest, I really did stop caring really rather quickly, to be honest. I was looking at it through an analytical lens because I was doing this preview, but the game is so engrossing and so much fun that I just don't care, Would I prefer it to be 60 and super high definition? Yes, I would, and it is clear that they've definitely gone down a higher resolution route rather than aiming for a solid 30 frames a second, and given how beautiful the game is, I think that's probably the right decision. Usually I would go in the other direction, but in this case, I can see why they would choose that. Would I like the option to do a slightly lower resolution at a more stable 30? Probably, but that's just me being picky. But as I just said, the game is so beautiful, and I've not even got to what I consider to be more beautiful stages later on in the game because I wasn't allowed. Admittedly, I could have got there and just not talked about it, but I find it much easier if I don't. Then I can't make a mistake. But the game worlds just feel so alive. You know, the courtyard in the Vatican, it's full of fascists. I just like that the game does not pull any punches and it just calls them fascists. And it's arguably something that's maybe a little bit more old-fashioned, like seeing the arms move in screen and like, oh, you get to a door and you've got to use a key, and does it just open? No, you've got to press the button to get the key out, and then you put the key in, you've got to like move the left stick to unlock, and it's arguably kind of like a little bit sort of old-fashioned, kind of almost QTE-esque, but it really helps with the immersion. Like, I think because it's never for anything important, in a weird way, it's only for things like, oh, you need to, sort of put this emblem on here and turn it using the left stick. It really does add to the immersion, and I can't really believe I'm having that opinion, but here we are. I played the game on the hardest difficulty because I'm an irritating overachiever, and that makes the stealth a lot harder. You don't get any indicator icons. You might see some in the footage. That's before I changed up to the higher difficulty because I forgot that there were the icons and things. And stealth gameplay gets a bit of a bad rep sometimes. Not all the time by any stretch of the imagination, but oftentimes it can be difficult to get the balance right between just being irritating, sort of like, you've been spotted, game over, and just being too damn easy. I actually think that this game does a really nice job of balancing it. It's really nice to, sort of sneak through and you're sneaking past guards and they go, what was that? And you hide around the corner and and then they come around the corner and it's like, okay, fist time. And even if you are spotted by like a captain or something who, when they blow their big whistle and they go, hey, come back, because they can see right through your clever disguise, you have the opportunity. And what's the situation you do? Do you fight back? Certainly not on the hardest difficulty. You have to just run away and hide. It's actually a really exhilarating experience as a result of that. And I think my point is, I know I'm talking about the game, and it is a known quantity, and there's many people who maybe are watching this and switching off going, oh, I know all this stuff, but my point is that I was getting all of this same experience on the Switch 2 version, despite the graphical drawbacks, despite the fact it's only 30 frames a second, and it's not like ultra, consistent 30 frames a second. It doesn't matter to me. And I do care about that stuff. I genuinely do. I suppose in some ways I would equate it to Cyberpunk, in the sense that it's this big game. Admittedly, Cyberpunk is a bigger open world game, whereas Indiana Jones is more sort of open zone. That's another thing I love, actually. The fact that you just land in the Vatican, you get the Vatican key, and you can go, not everywhere, but you can, like, you get given signposts, sort of, oh, you need to do this thing, get the camera and that sort of thing. But because I was already familiar with the game, I just sort of thought, oh, can I go here? Yes? Okay, I can do that bit now, and I can take, get these photos before these photos, and do this bit and do that bit before it's actually required. And I just love, again, how immersive that makes it. Yeah, you go into restricted areas. You might get shot at, but I don't know. I really love this game. Is that coming through? But back to my original point. Cyberpunk is more open world. This is technically not as demanding in terms of like the world, sort of rendering and things like that. But it is still fairly demanding, and visually, like fidelity-wise, it is quite fierce. Again, if there is ray tracing being involved, that's another element that has to be considered. And whilst this is more of a feeling than anything else, I want to make this abundantly clear. This is more of a feeling. I feel like the Switch 2 this version of the game is being held back by the CPU, not the GPU, because it usually tends to be things like, lots of NPCs in one area. That's when things tend to get a little bit sort of wobbly here and there. Which I just think is interesting, because that has come up time and time again with the Switch 2, that it's CPU limited. Which, I don't know where I'm going with this. But the long and short of it, the little that I've played, the little that I'm allowed to have played, has been really good fun, really fantastic, and I've enjoyed it just as much as I did on Xbox Series X. Can't wait to see what they call the new Xbox. And I think you could reasonably make the argument that there are better platforms for this game, the more powerful consoles and PC and stuff like that. But you can't put those in a backpack, a small backpack, and carry them around. And I have played this handheld as well. I'm specifically not allowed to show you handheld gameplay, which Fair enough, I suppose. But I'm not fully sure why, because I think it actually looks pretty damn good in handheld. Again, obviously, it's not going to look as good as docked mode. You know, it's, running on a battery and things like that. But all things considered, I think it's really impressive in handheld mode. So, I look forward to that whenever we can show you. And honestly, I found myself just as immersed playing handheld as I did docked, which is a little unusual for me. I sometimes find handheld to not be as engaging because it's more of a pick up, put down feeling kind of thing. At least it is for me. But I was just as gripped. I really enjoyed it. And I really want to play an awful lot more of it. And I get to before you. But what do you think? You've seen the footage that I've shared in this video. How do you think it looks? Let us know with a comment down below. But for now, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you draw a big circle around that subscribe button, and be sure to check out NintendoLife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye. Let's dive right into things. Fun fact, I do that even when I'm recording on this thing and no one can see me. The finger needs to be pointed.